Hey everybody, thanks for joining us again. I'm Matt, Client Success Manager at White House Custom Color, and joining me is
Christina.
Awesome. So today we're going to talk about albums and lay flat books. Let's talk about use cases to begin with, because a lot of people ask us, like, how do you use albums? What do you sell them for? So when you think albums, Christina, what's the first thing that pops into your mind?
Probably weddings.
Yes, exactly. And I think that if you polled people, that's probably what they would answer most of the time. But what is another use case that we see a ton of here at the lab?
I think from working at the lab, I'd actually say boudoir.
Yeah, I would totally agree with you. And then another one that people sometimes don't think about is high school seniors.
Yes.
And then tagged to that could be family sessions. So there's a number of use cases that can go with albums and lay flat books. In style, in size, in cover material, all those things. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more today. I think it's very important when you're talking to clients to, again, not overwhelm them. That's kind of been an overwhelming thing that we've been talking about here, is to not overwhelm your clients.
Yeah.
You wanna,
I think even our clients sometimes get overwhelmed when we say we have books and albums. What should I offer, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like we can really simplify that at times.
Absolutely. I think it's very important as a photographer, as a business owner, to narrow down to the things that you really like, because ultimately you're going to sell what you like and what you love. It's going to be super easy to sell. So we would highly recommend figuring out the sizes that you want to offer, figuring out the cover materials you want to offer, figuring out the style of cover you want to offer. So when you present it to your clients, you can say, do you want A, B, or C? It's not a, do you want to, why don't you choose one of these, multiple covers, and then people go into absolute
And Matt,
standstill.
when you say that to a lot of your clients, like, I feel like people get overwhelmed and they have to do a lot of options. I think probably you can speak on this too. Like, they probably just sell a 10 by 10 and an 8 by 8, right? Or something simple. It doesn't have to be 3 or 4 different sizes like you do with frames and some other products that you might have more of.
Yep.
It could simply be something like 10 by 10 square, easier for you to make, and that's what you're going to stick with,
Yep,
right?
absolutely. And there are some people that very much stick by a certain size for their brand. They don't vary from that at all. But you can, like, if you're not offering albums now, start with one size, start with 2 sizes. We've just added to the editor now, if you sell a 10 by 10, you can duplicate that, reorder it as an 8 by 8 or a smaller size, and duplicate that immediately. It makes it really easy to sell those additional sizes.
Do you want to start with showing some of the options we have
Yeah,
here?
yeah,
and we can
definitely.
Go through the other two?
Definitely, let's do that. So when you're looking at albums, you're going to have your choice of either a thick insert or a thin insert. And Christina can turn to those. I believe that this is a thin insert here on top. Nope, I was incorrect. That's actually a thick insert. And it's basically just going to be the difference in depth of the pages and how rigid they are. Another thing that you're going to get as a benefit from a thinner insert is you're going to get more spreads. So if you have a really large wedding or a really large senior session that you need the additional spreads for, you can go up to 40 for those versus 25 for your thick insert as well. You can also choose from a black insert or a white, and then you can also choose the end leaf color, black or white as well. And as long as we have these options out here, let's talk about the style of covers here, because a lot of times if people haven't offered albums or lay flat books before, they don't understand the difference in the cover. So let's just go through these one by one. So this is going to be an example of a full photo cover. Now, this doesn't have an image of a person per se, but this is a photographic print. It does have a laminate over the top of it, and that's what we would call a full photo cover. Okay, and then we're going to move on to a combo cover. So this is going to be a combination of one of our materials and an image. Okay, so that's going to be your combo cover. And this cover was actually just recently added to the editor versus Studio.
And Matt, just to clarify with the combo cover,
Yep.
you could do the combo front or the front and back. So this has the fabric all the way around to the back and the spine, and then the combo on the front. You could just do fabric over the spine area.
Yep, thanks for adding that. And then we go up to the cameo cover, and you can choose to do a cameo if you'd like on an album or a lay flat book. And then we're going to have our full material cover. And this is an example here, but we're going to show this really pretty navy premium leather as an example as well. So 4 different options as far as the style of your cover, and then all the varieties of different materials, fabrics, leathers, and these little sets like I'm holding on to here. I'm just going to set this out on the table and Connor can zoom in on that. So you can grab these sample sets. They're in rows. They're $20 and you get a little wallet size snippet of each of the materials. So you can actually show people in your studio the touch and the feel of the materials. Again, I wouldn't recommend handing that to somebody and saying choose. You probably want to narrow it down.
Yeah, this is good for the studio owner, for photographers to have these and then choose from there, right?
Correct.
And then to actually get a sample of the ones that they love.
Right. Yep.
To be able to sell with.
Yep, there's no better way to sell an album or a book than to have them sitting on a table next to your chair in your sales room or something of that nature to let people touch and feel them. The quality is incredible of these. Another recent addition or option, and I'm going to put this out here so the camera above us can grab it. We did recently add rounded corners on our albums on lay flat books, which I think is a really nice touch. And when you do order an album with a premium leather, it's going to automatically have a rounded cover corner
so
on the
really
cover
nice
as well.
To match right there on that side.
Yep, exactly. So again, we're going to throw a lot at you, especially in this particular video about albums. So if you do have questions, feel free to put them in the chat along the way. Otherwise, you can certainly reach out to customer service by scheduling an appointment with them through the website. You can book a 30-minute time and answer and ask as many questions as you possibly want to, and that time will be reserved for you. So let's talk about pricing on this. One of the products that I think people have a hard time pricing is albums.
Would you say, Matt, because you deal with a lot of our top clients, right?
Yep.
What is that one of the biggest money makers, or how much money do they make off like albums?
Well, it totally depends on the style, the number of images in it, and the cover materials. All those things go into that. Now, albums can be a very profitable thing. I think to me, ultimately, it depends on how you use that album. Now, is the album going to be your main product you're trying to sell, or are you going to try to add it on at the end? Okay, is it going to be the icing on top of the rest of all the wall portraits, gift portraits, cards, all the things that you're selling, or is it your primary thing that you're giving out? Very different things.
So you're saying, let's say for a wedding, an album might be the #1 product they're selling, although we know some senior photographers who absolutely sell an album in every session, right? It's very important they get that, and then along with some wall portraits.
Correct, yep, exactly. So when you are pricing your albums and your lay flat books, I would refer you to the guide that we've been talking about in other videos, and making sure that you take all the things into account, especially if you're talking about an album that has 25, 30, 40, 50, 60 images in it. When you're retouching and editing that, that's a significant amount of time. So your entry cost and what you pay for the album compared to what you really get is very affordable. You get a lot of bang for the buck, but we need to have people pay attention to how much time you're really spending putting this all together.
So you're saying even design time, shoot time, and how much the product costs from the lab.
Yes,
right?
yep,
Adding
exactly. Adding that all up, and making sure that you do allow for time for profit in there, because albums are wonderful and they're really fun to sell and they're great to get in and they're cool to look at. It's just like Christmas opening up, but if you're not making any money at it, you know, you're probably not in this business to just do it for fun. So I would definitely recommend making sure that you cross your T's, dot your I's when planning out your album pricing. Okay, how do you sell these? Well, in my world, you put these out, they pretty much sell themselves. I have a way that I've been doing sales for the last 20 years. Tried and true, I use the albums and the lay flat books as an add-on. That has always been my thing. I can add them on at the end in about the last 10 minutes.
For family sessions or anything?
Yep. There's always a magic number of images that end up in the sales presentation. I always know that I'm going to be selling a certain number of images for wall portraits, gift portraits, all those things. And inevitably, there's this magic 25 or 28 images left over that everybody loves that nobody's ordered from yet. they don't want to let them go. They need to go somewhere. Unless you're going to do an image box, somebody's probably not going to order 18 or 25 5x7s. You just don't need them. But what a perfect way to keep those in an album. And another great sales point for that is, in my world, if you buy something from them, you get the social media file for it as well. Nothing printable, just postable. So if you're ordering from 35 images, 38 images, they're all going in an album, boom, you get them for social media, which everybody wants.
And Matt, sometimes I know people get overwhelmed with like albums we consider like our higher end, and lay flat books are pretty similar. You can do a lot of the same things. You would sell them in the same category, right? Like I feel like people are like, well, should I sell this one for more money? You were talking about calculating your costs, but at the end of the day, it can go in the same bucket because the same time, the same product, the same quality is there. There's just some minor differences.
Yep. And on one of our YouTube, somebody did question me on that. And I'm really glad they did, because it means you're paying attention. I personally feel a thick insert album, thin insert album, and a lay flat book to be the same retail pricing in the studio. Because if you hand somebody a lay flat book and an album, I don't think that they're going to see what the difference is to warrant the difference in retail cost. If you hand them those two things together and say, or those three things, thick, thin, and a lay flat, and say, I want you to just choose the thickness of your page, that makes a lot more sense. Oh, okay, well, I like the thin page. Okay, well, that's great for you because the lay flat book is a less expensive item. When you do move to a hardcover book or a softcover book, there is a substantial difference. Still a really nice product, but when you hold it in your hand, you can tell the difference. And that, to me, as a consumer, if you handed me a hardcover, I would say, okay, I understand why this is cheaper. It's a magazine style page. It doesn't have the upgraded cover, so on and so forth. But with the lay flat, thick, and thin, I would price them all the same.
Because this is essentially right here a lay flat book, right?
Let's just open that up. Yep. Oh, this is a lay flat book.
And this is the album with the thicker pages. And these are essentially almost the same, right? So I think that's pretty telling to say. And I agree with you, Matt. I think that's easier too for people to get a handle on.
Yes.
The only time that maybe you would do like a discount is if they're buying multiples of like the same design, maybe in that case, right? Like if they were buying like one for grandma or for another family member, then you would maybe do a discount or something.
Absolutely. That's a happy dance thing right there. When somebody says, oh, is it okay if I get a couple of those or 3 of those? Absolutely it is. Because then all you have to do is put in a number 2 or a number 3 instead of 1. So yeah, definitely.
Do you want to hit on, I'm actually going to show the editor real quick, just since you talked pretty simply.
For sure.
So we do have a quick tool that we'll go through pretty quick today on our albums that you can design online for free. So if you go to our website and go to albums, you can hit order now, and it brings you right into your projects here. So I could simply go in here, start making an album, and I'm just going to say, let's do 10 by 10. 5 to 10 pages.
You know, and coming from the old school Photoshop and spending countless hours in front of my computer hand designing these, the editor tool for albums is a phenomenal piece of software. And again, you can use this for free if you're a White House Custom Color client. After you mess around with this the first few times, you're literally able to design an album in a matter of minutes. Proof it to your clients, get their approval, hit the order button. It is a phenomenal tool for photographers and a great help to placing orders and making sure you're efficient. So as you're watching Christina here do this, she's literally designing an album, and if she wanted to, she could be done here within probably 3 minutes or less. Yeah, I'm timing you.
I know, pressure's on. I'll take it.
With this, you don't have to worry about sizing templates. You have the cover options. We did just recently add our combo covers to this, which makes it super slick. So if you haven't played in studio with the album editor, definitely jump in there and do that. It has tons of variety as far as the page designs. You can choose the color of the page, black or white. You can reorganize the pages. You can choose your inserts, your rounded corners, all the things. It is a I can't talk today. It's a fantastic tool. Keep in mind, these are going to be squares in here for right now. So your 6x6, 8x8, 10x10, 12x12. You are able to duplicate those.
Yeah, we just added that duplicate button.
Yeah, that's a great button. So if you are doing, let's just say, a wedding album, you have a 12x12 for the bride and groom. You need 2 smaller albums or parents' albums for both sets of parents. It's easy to duplicate that as a smaller. Yep. And you place your orders and you are all set to go. So it's fantastic. Make sure and check that out if you haven't in the past. And as far as product delivery, and getting these to your clients. All of the albums and lay flat books are going to come with a nice charcoal delivery box, correct?
Yep.
Now, if you want to upgrade to premium packaging, you certainly can do that. I do have some examples of that sitting on the table here that I'll just go ahead and scooch out so Connor can grab those. So we've got a few different colors with that, but keep in mind that they do come with a charcoal box for no extra charge. You can drop ship these directly to your client if you'd like. And another awesome thing from White House is that we ship all of our albums overnight.
Yes, with that nice box and the nice package
box,
by card.
Yep. And the way they're packaged for traveling, they are like Fort Knox inside that box. They're packaged really well.
Perfect box. Perfect
yes,
fit.
exactly. So a lot of benefits going to the holidays. This is a perfect gift item for anybody. Delivers quickly in and out of the lab. At lightning speed, even considered all the volume that's going on here. So very easily getting it to your client either through you or a drop ship through us. So once again, if you have any questions, make sure and add them to the chat or reach out to customer service. We're always willing to help. I'm happy to help you do so. If you're not following along on YouTube, make sure and subscribe to our White House Custom Color YouTube channel. We're doing a ton of online education like this, talking about product and selling and pricing and all the fun things. So hit that button to subscribe to that. Check us out at Instagram at WHCC Pro. And then also our shiny new website and studio at whcc.com. So thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Matt, this is Christina, and we will